Moving on to the next match, we had the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team title match. The Bullet Club War Dogs of Clark Connors and Drilla Moloney successfully defended their titles against Catch 22, Francisco Akira and TJP, and the Intergalactic Jet Setters of Kevin Knight and Kushida in 17 minutes and 29 seconds.
Yeah, Jeremy, this is one that we were dead wrong on. Last week, I think both of us really were anticipating a new champion here with the Intergalactic Jet Setters picking up that victory, but Moloney and Clark Connors, the War Dogs, they were able to pick up that victory and really establish themselves as very dominant champions in this division.
Yeah, and this match was awesome. Like we mentioned, this was a tornado tag team rule. So you just had all six of these guys in and out of the ring, flying all over the place. Like you mentioned, War Dogs looked very aggressive here. You know, there's points toward the match where they kind of held the ring and they were 2-on-1 on Kevin Knight for a while, and Kevin Knight came back with a big Pele kick. But yeah, there's a lot of great spots here. Kevin Knight doing the big dive from the ring to the crowd, everybody kind of fighting in the crowd there. So high pace, a lot of big moves, high action. This was a really, really fun matchup.
I thought this match was stellar, just really, really, really incredible. Um, Super impressed with the work from all six men, and for me, this was easily my match of the night. I'm like 4.25 plus on it, maybe I'm not quite 4.5, but I mean, I thought that this was a real contender for tag match of the year so far.
Yeah,
And
I was also like 4.25.
it was just awesome. And very, very high action, but not just that. There's also I'm not a huge fan of triple threats because there's a lot of tropes, there's a lot of downtime, there's a lot of moving parts, and it's really hard for anybody to craft a super fluid and compelling triple threat match, much less when you add another three guys to it. So now you've got six men. There's just a lot of possibilities for things to go awry. And the way that they were able to craft this match and mix in the hard brawling style and the high flying and keep everything together. I mean, this was a masterclass in this style of scramble tag match. And like you said, I liked the psychology where Drill Moloney and Clark Connors were using their size and strength to cut off the ring many times and basically work babyface and peril spots with several of the guys, most notably Kevin Knight, which is probably one of the things that led to them picking up the victory. But there was a lot of psychology involved here too. So the story elements, but sometimes people hear that terminology, they hear storytelling and story elements, psychology, and they think you know, they think it's also known as boring, and that's not so much the case for me. The best matches with great psychology are the best matches of all time. And this match had great psychology and there was a reason for everything that everybody was doing in this match. And there were so many great near falls. This was a match the crowd really came to life for. And I know that this division is known for having great matches like this, but it seems like it's been a really long time since there's been, um, you know, this many great tag teams all competing at this high of a level simultaneously. So I was blown away here, and I didn't expect the War Dogs to get the win, but it was deserved. And Drill Moloney got his eardrum burst.
Yeah, he did, which kind of explained what happened post match. But yeah, this match, there was a lot of urgency. I feel like a lot right now, there's a lot of matches in wrestling where you don't have that big urgency, and these guys are working really high pace here. And there's so many believable near falls here. Towards like the 10-minute mark, you had the War Dogs hitting their kind of high low combo for a great near fall.
Mhm.
You had TJP spinning the miss in Drilla's eyes, and then him and Akira did the knee for a great near fall as well. You had Kushida getting a victory roll on TJP for another near fall. They did Kushida and Kevin Knight were doing a lot of Motor City Machine Gun combo moves as well. And you just had all these great kind of back and forth near falls that were hitting all their big double team maneuvers. And if somebody would come in and break up and save it, And so yeah, the near falls were really, really great. And then towards the end here, they end up hitting the full clip, the War Dogs on Kushida to get the big win. Like you mentioned, post match, Drilla kind of storms off, looking very pissed off, and we would find out via his Instagram story that he burst his eardrum and he blamed it on Kushida.
Yeah, I don't know what Kushida did or if that's where it occurred. I haven't rewatched the match and I wasn't privy to any injuries that occurred in the match on my initial watch. I would like to kind of see what caused it, if there was something in particular. But yeah, I watched the post match and Moloney just he went on a tirade, bro. Like he's great. Like, and it's funny how a year ago during the Super Juniors, it was people were questioning whether he even deserved to be in the tournament or be in this company. And the corner he's turned, and he was great then, but he's vastly improved over the course of the past year. And yeah, him and Clark Connors are one of my favorite tag teams. Just in general, not just in New Japan. I like, to steal a phrase from friends over at the flagship. They say dumb jock energy. That's what these two motherfuckers have. They got big, powerful muscles. Like, if I told you what some of my favorite tag teams of all time are, Road Warriors, Sting and Luger, you know,
Steiners.
the Steiners, that's kind of like the energy Moloney and Clark Connors bring to the junior division, and they're just running roughshod over everybody, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
One thing, TJP, he debuted a new version of the Oswong, which wasn't the masked version, but it was a face painted version, and but clearly like an allusion to the Oswong. And I liked this so much more than the mask gimmick. So, I think that he was playing 4D chess, because if he had debuted just the face paint and the mist at Wrestle Kingdom, I probably would have shit all over it. But because he debuted a way worse version of it, now he's able to set the expectations for what are terrible so high that when he brings it down to this, I'm like, okay, I'm accepting of it. I would rather he just do this all the time when he wants to pull out the big match gimmick.
Yeah, the presentation was a lot better here, a little bit more subtle while still having it. He can still shoot the miss. So yeah, it looked better here. But yeah, this was an awesome match. I'm also 4.25 on it. We had a question here from Les Commission 7252. Says Ocon chewed out TJP, calling himself the captain, but has lacked the results of wins. Is this setting up TJP being kicked out of UE if he doesn't win the best of Super Juniors, or him winning best of Super Juniors to keep his spot in UE?
Yeah, and he's not the only one either. Jeff Cobb was on commentary for this match, and he also had words for um TJP post match, which I've been critical of the storyline of him being the quote unquote captain of the team and everything like that. Did you see the comments from Ocon or not?
Yeah, I saw the post match, and yeah, essentially, he was like, Osprey and I created the United Empire as equals. There wasn't any, leaders, but no, now you're trying to call yourself the captain, and you're not bringing results. So yeah, Ocon kind of dropping the hammer on him. Yeah, like you
Mhm.
mentioned, Jeff Cobb joined commentary for the rest of the show after his match, and yeah, after the match, TJP kind of walked by, and Cobb was like, you want to be the captain, man, but you got to show results, man. And so there's a lot of kind of pressure there on TJP. He's trying to claim this mantle, and he say he's carrying the crown, but it seems like the crown is too heavy for TJP, and there's some pressure kind of cracking here on the United Empire.
Yeah, now that there's people actually saying like you have to perform if you want to call yourself the leader. Like, we're not just going to follow some schmo who's like, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Heavyweight, middle, heavyweight, junior, I'll go up and down, I'll do whatever it takes, doesn't matter, I'll cross any barrier. But like, you're not winning the matches. And now that there's actual juice to the story, I'm in on it. I like this now because there's people that are actually in the group that are like, the fuck are you doing, bro? And so I like that. And I don't know. I hadn't considered the idea that it was setting him up for a win, but I got to tell you, I don't think that he's winning if I was a betting man, which I'm generally not because I don't know how, but it involves computers, I think, and I'm not the most tech savvy, but if I was putting money on this tournament, if I could get some odds and if I could find a sports book that would give me odds on you know, the best of the Super Juniors, I would not be putting my money on TJP. I don't see them putting him in a very prominent position on a huge show like Dominion.
Right. Maybe if Super Juniors had its own standalone finals, I mean, they did do Watto versus Teton last year in its own thing. And maybe if it was its own arena, maybe I could see TJP getting to the finals and maybe even winning it, almost kind of like a goal watch moment for him. But with that match being on Dominion, and especially with the championship being with Show and House of Torture, I feel like you need a really really strong bay face coming out of that tournament if Show's going to still be the champion. So and it's kind of way too early for predictions, and we'll talk about the lineup here in a second. But a guy like Robbie Eagles is somebody I'm looking forward to potentially winning a really top, great baby face that hasn't been in that big spotlight yet. I think is a guy that I'm looking forward to winning.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get there when we get there. But it's going to be there's quite a few names in that tournament, and I think that this is kind of an open field this year.
Yeah. We had a question here from Barry Walsh. We pretty much answered it. He was asking about why Drilla looked pissed off post match, but yeah, the busted his eardrum.